I found out my wife, the love of my life, my angel, my baby cakes. She's cheating on me. And that's not the rest of it. She's cheating on me with somebody I never thought she would. My own flesh and blood, my DNA, my brother. And that's not where the story ends. My daughter is blaming me for it, saying I should take her mother back. She didn't know what she was doing. Well, I won't do it. And I forgot to tell you about one last secret.
How much heartache can a person even take? I don't know why society makes men feel as though they always have to be the strong ones, to be the bigger person, to not break down, not cry. As somebody from Shakespeare play once said, to be or not to be, that is the question. I just don't want to be, and so I relate with that character. Who even wants to exist in this useless world anyways? Not me. My life's been turned upside down. I was happily married to Sara for 15 years, and we had 2 beautiful children together. We were the perfect family, or so, I thought. But everything changed when I found out that Sara's been cheating on me with my own brother, Mark. I often wonder how he did it. What was going on in his head? Did he always look at my wife in a sinister way? Were they both just drawn towards each other the moment they set eyes on each other? I wouldn't know. And it's better I don't ever find out. It all started when I noticed that Sara was acting quite strange. She would spend more time on her phone, and whenever I tried to see what she was doing, she would quickly hide it. I tried to ignore it at first, thinking that I was just being a bit paranoid, but my gut feeling told me that something was wrong. Quick advice to anybody out there, trust your gut. Almost 100% of the time, it's right, and you won't regret listening. A couple weeks after noticing her strange behavior, I decided to confront Sara about it. I asked her if she was cheating on me. She denied everything at first. She tried to make me feel like I was crazy, but the evidence was right in front of my eyes. I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't deny it either. That's a huge red flag, you know? The whole denying it and then making the other person feel as though they're the problem when they're not. I didn't know that then. I could only smell something fishy, and I needed to figure out where the smell was coming from. Anyways, when I confronted my brother Mark, he denied it at first also, but eventually he confessed to everything. He said that he had been seeing Sara for months and that it was a mistake. He even begged me to forgive him, but I simply could not. How could he betray me like that? How could Sara do that to our family? I know we should just be loving and forgiving of our family, but when your own brother and wife do something horrific like this, no. No. I would not forgive them. Tell me who would. I felt like my whole world had been falling apart in front of my eyes. I was hurt, angry, confused, all of it. I didn't know how to handle the situation. I felt like I've been stabbed in the back by 2 of the people that I love the most in the world. And if that wasn't enough, my daughter Emily added fuel to the fire, to say the least. My daughter Emily was furious with me for not forgiving her mom. She threatened to cut all ties with me unless I took Sara back. It was like a punch to the gut. I love my daughter more than anything in the world, but I could not just let Sara betray me. Well, I don't know about you guys, but Emily's move looked more as though that she's just totally fine with what Sara did. And my anger was not justified. I know daughters are closer to their mothers, but when it comes to standing up for the truth, I believe all those are just useless walls people hide behind. Emily and Sara would call me constantly, trying to get me to change my mind. They would tell me that they loved me and that they were sorry, but I could not just forget what they've done. I needed time to process everything and figure out what to do next. They just did not understand the concept of personal space, healing, and recovery, and I needed that big time. That's when my son, Alex, stepped in. Alex was a successful businessman who had been financially supporting our family. Before I move on any further, y'all need to understand why Alex was supporting us. So, when Alex started college, I lost my job, which was supporting our entire family due to the economic recession. Alex dropped out of college and started a local business that dealt with packaging and delivery. Something like FedEx. Anyways, after about 5 years, the business flourished, and he was providing for us while I worked odd jobs. I went around the company office a couple times per week just to help about. My brother helped as well, but Alex was more or less the owner. Anyways, he revealed to me that he had known about the affair all along. I was shocked and hurt that he did not tell me earlier, but he explained that he was trying to protect me from the pain, and I don't know about you guys. Maybe leave it down below in the comments, but if you saw two loved ones cheating, you would warn someone they were hurting, right? I think you should, or you just keeping that person in the dark. I had definitely been in the dark for a while. Time went on and Alex sided with me. He even cut off his mother and sister to show solidarity with me. It's not that I'm condoning Alex's actions. No, that's not what I'm doing. When Alex told me he was going to cut off Sara and Emily, I freaked out and just told him not to because both of them don't work and would not have any means to survive. His justification was this. Mom turned to Mark when she had you. Why would they want you now? They can go to Mark. He was the one stoic adult who looked at everything rather rationally instead of emotionally, which I guess is a good thing, but some situations call for emotional understanding, and in this situation, both Alex and I, we were tuned out. As time passed, I started to feel like I could never forgive Sara for what she's done. But Emily continued to push me to forgive her mom. She'd call me and tell me how much she missed me and how she wanted our family to be back together. She would say things like, "You're tearing our family apart," and "you're being selfish, blah blah blah." I guess she thought by being mean and rude, I would soften up to them because that's why my quote only daughter thought of me. But to be honest, I didn't care two craps what they thought, and Emily just telling me all this was enough to push me away forever. So, Sara moved out and I don't even know where she went. To be honest, I didn't even ask. One day, when I got home, I saw her stuff gone and I was like, oh well, better for all of us, right? The only way I knew she was alive was through Emily whenever she called to tell me what a terrible husband and father I was. I think they were living with Mark at his place, but I would never know because Emily had a small flat of her own. How they got money, I have no idea whatsoever because Alex stopped supporting them. I'm guessing it's Mark again. But he was a handyman just like me. He could not have been making more than $5,000 a month, max. Which, by the way, is the bare minimum to survive here in America these days. Another thing that baffled me was the fact that Mark was acting as though nothing wrong had happened between the both of us. I know a lot of us growing up with the notion that once siblings fight, we say sorry, we patch it up, and we just move on as if nothing ever happened, but this was way more than a silly little fight over a Nerf gun. This was Mark cheating on my wife behind my back. How could he just assume that everything would be hunky-dory, and things can go back to normal? I'll admit, though, that Mark is not the smartest tool in the shed. And sometimes, he does a little hand-holding when it comes to deciphering situations. But this time, I was not holding his hand. Nobody was, because for some reason, Sara had stopped meeting Mark and even contacting him. Oh, you want to know how I know? Well, Emily told me in one of her rants. So yeah, my family's basically broken and torn apart, and I don't even know what to do. I felt like I was stuck between a rock and a hard place. I loved my daughter more than anything, but I could not just forgive Sara for what she's done. It wasn't just a mistake, it was a betrayal of trust that I did not know if I could ever get over. And this was something both she and Emily could not understand, or didn't want to understand. They claimed I was the one, quote, breaking up the family with how I was holding on to a minor issue like this. Okay, explain this to me. How the hell is this a minor issue, and how on earth am I breaking up the family? Despite all of this, Alex had been like a rock to me. As I mentioned before, he had sided with me and was of constant support to me and what I needed. A couple of weeks after Sara had moved out, and I'd received more than 24 phone calls from Emily threatening me and calling me a useless father. I think Alex has had enough. He told me over breakfast that he's going to investigate the problem. Alex is a man of a few wordings and would rarely ever explain what he meant. So, I just sat there baffled and confused until he later revealed to me what he was doing. He had investigated Mark's motives and what he had been doing for the past 6 months, and guess what? He found something. What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. Today's story is a deceitful cheating story. Well, I didn't leave you stranded right there with a cliffhanger. Oh no, I found every single update by this OP and posted them down below. Guys, we're going to hop into update number 1. If you're new to the channel, just know, the biggest way to support me is super simple. Just click that subscribe button right now if you like these videos and want to support me. Thank you for that, and let's go ahead and hop into this update. Hey guys, it's been a hot minute since I last poured my heart out to you all. But the whole mess with my cheating wife and betraying brother, I've been through the ringer. Guys, but I promised an update, here it is. Buckle up, because crap's about to get real. So let me fill you in on what went down. After my daughter Emily went on her relentless campaign to guilt trip me and my son Alex, well, he took it upon himself to play little detective. Things got a bit crazy. I gotta hand it to Alex, he found this investigator who, in my opinion, is the real-life embodiment of Sherlock Holmes. This guy was like the Batman of the real world, operating in the shadows and getting crap done. The dude unearthed some seriously disturbing secrets that had my head spinning faster than a roller coaster on a bumpy track. Turns out, Mark, that rat, who thought he could ruin my life without repercussions, had many skeletons in his little closet. Well, more than a graveyard at midnight. Let me tell you, these skeletons were the size of freaking dinosaurs, and it started with Alex digging deep into Mark's finances, trying to figure out how he managed to keep Emily and Sara afloat. But when things started getting a bit sketchy, he told the investigator guy about it, and he continued from there on out. I know Alex should not have been interfering, but Alex is a good kid, and he really wanted to do anything to make me feel better about the whole situation. But it did not stop there. Oh no, my friends, it took a turn for the bizarre. The investigator guy, being the tech-savvy genius that he is, managed to hack into Mark's email account, and let me remind you, we're talking about my own flesh and blood here. The guy who betrayed me in the worst way possible, and what did we find out? Brace yourselves. Mark, oh Marky boy, had been orchestrating some twisted plans with Sara. It wasn't just a fling or a momentary lapse of judgment. Oh no, this was calculated, premeditated treachery. I'm not entirely sure what they were planning, and the investigator's still digging into that, but the tip of the iceberg is pretty clear to me. They were going to ruin me. Yeah, these emails, they were filled with detailed discussions. How to drain my savings, how to make me lose custody of the kids, and even how to tarnish my reputation in our small community. It was like a Shakespearean tragedy written by a deranged lunatic. I never thought I'd say this, but I was glad Alex invaded Mark's privacy, and because it exposed the extent of their diabolical scheme and how much of a real rat that he is. Now, you're probably wondering, what did this damning evidence do? Did we take it to the police? Did we confront Mark and Sara with the cold, hard truth of the law? Well, my friends, this is where things get a bit tricky. You see, Alex, he had a plan that involved exposing their true colors to the world without jeopardizing our own safety while we're at it. Well, that's enough for this update. I'll still get back to you on another update when it happens. Till then, just have a great week, because I'm telling you, things are about to get a bit sticky. Update number 2. Okay, people, here's the update, and y'all just aren't really ready for this, so whatever, here it is. Alex and this investigator guy meet a couple times a week. With his help, we started compiling evidence on evidence, building a case that would expose Mark and Sarah's deceitful ways to the world. But let me tell you, it wasn't easy. It was like tiptoeing through an absolute minefield, hoping not to blow up our faces. We had to be careful, meticulous, patient. It was like a chess game, making calculated moves to ensure the victory, but there were moments when I felt like I was losing my mind, like I was dancing on the edge of sanity. As days turned into weeks, we gathered more and more evidence, piecing together a puzzle that revealed the true extent of Mark and Sarah's deceit. Well, we had to be strategic, making sure every step we took was, calculated, foolproof. It had to be. It was like playing a high-stakes game of poker, and that stakes was nothing less than our own sanity and justice on the line. Well, I'm rambling, so throughout this process, Alex and I became a unified front, standing tall against the storm that threatened to destroy us. We relied on each other for support, for strength, and for the unwavering belief that justice would prevail. Yeah, it was a roller coaster. A roller coaster of emotions. Anger, betrayal, sorrow, you name it, but also a glimmer of hope that we would emerge from the darkness with our head held high. Or so I thought. Life isn't like a fairy tale like I just said it was, and my life was far from one of those Disney movies I just pictured in front of you. Do you think everything would go back to normal after what was happened? That our lives will just move on after we discovered all this? No way in hell. We weren't going to be emerging from darkness or whatever they say in these cheesy movies. If anything, we'll be going further down the rabbit hole. I should say the hobbit hole, and there's no light. So here I am, sharing this update with you all, seeking solace in the anonymity of the interwebs. I don't know what lies ahead, what further twists and turns await. I know I don't have Sara and Emily anymore, and prepared to face the harsh reality of life. Even when I thought about a million different ways how it could only be Mark's fault and not Sara's, I knew there was going to be a back and forth and just going back to what it was. It was over. And let me tell you, that was a hard fact to swallow. Update number 3. Hey guys, it's been a while since my last update, and boy, do I have some wild developments to share with you. The investigation into Mark's deceit took an unexpected turn, leading us down a treacherous path of uncovering a plot so twisted it would make your head spin. I'm talking damning evidence we collected. Alex confronted Mark, ready to bring the truth crashing down on him like a ton of bricks. The tension in the room was palpable as they faced off, a battle of wills and secrets reaching their boiling point. Okay, maybe I'm being a bit dramatic with my descriptions here, but y'all, this was like one of those face-offs, good guys versus bad guys sort of scenario. Alex gave him an ultimatum. Return the stolen money, confess to the family, or face the wrath of his actions with the authorities. At first, Mark tried to play it calm, denying everything with a smug grin on his face, but little did he know, Alex was prepared for that. Of course, Alex had to be a bit dramatic about it. And he unveiled the mountain of evidence we gathered, laying bare the extent of Mark's betrayal. The look on Mark's face shifted from confidence to sheer terror as the truth started to glimmer in his eyes. He broke down, his facade crumbling under the weight of guilt and shame, and it turned out that Mark had been embezzling money from the family business for years, siphoning funds under the radar with intention of framing me, his own brother. His plan was to eliminate me from the picture, take over the company, and some sort of twisted power play straight out of a B-film movie. And to top it all off, he and Sara, they had planned it all. plan to elope. Like, what even? How did that make any sense? Oh wait, but it did. Frame me for stealing money. Sara fakes being shocked and upset. She runs to Mark for cover and protection from me, and I'll be left alone in the world. It was all perfectly planned out right there in front of me, and I have to give Mark some credit here. Some credit where it's due, Mark. He really knows how to plan out things pretty well. But, well, they say justice has a way of catching up, doesn't it? Alex, my rock throughout this ordeal, had played his cards flawlessly. With Mark's confession and the evidence securely in his possession, he made his way to Sara and Emily, ready to expose the truth that they've turned a blind eye to for far too long. The only thing I realized was that Sara was one damn good actress. The way she pretended to be shocked, her crocodile tears, don't even get me started on that. I'm sure that's how she lured Emily into and, well, got her onto her side. Imagine the shock that reverberated through the room as Alex dropped the bombshell of the century. Emily, once fiercely defending her mother, was left stunned and devastated right there, realizing that her uncle and mother had betrayed them all. For me, there was a sense of relief mixed with guilt. Relief that the truth was finally out in the open, no longer buried beneath. Well, guilt for not having noticed the signs earlier, for not protecting my family from Mark's deceit and Sara's duplicity. It was a bitter pill to swallow, that's for sure, but one that pushed me further towards seeking closure and justice. Sara, she left the house after that, and, well, she went to meet up with Mark. As for what they were going to do next, I don't know. And to be honest, it worries me. To think that the two closest individuals in my life would do this to me. I'm almost at a loss for words here. Anyways, our next move is crucial. We must strategize, gather more evidence, and expose the two of them that have been pulling the strings behind the scenes. Alex is being a real rock for me to lean on, and I'm more than grateful to him. Emily came to the house with all her belongings, and she did not talk for a long while. She remained in her room, probably contemplating and digesting everything that's happened. I didn't want to intrude and talk to her just yet. I knew. The best way forward was to let her come to terms with the situation in her own time. When she finally came out to her room and saw me in the kitchen preparing an early dinner, she broke down in the kitchen aisle. I'm not a very emotional person, I'm guessing Alex is like me, but all I could think to do was hug her and hope she felt better. We remained in an embrace for a while, soaking in each other's presence and hoping this was only a bad dream that would simply pass. But it wasn't. It wasn't a bad dream, and I could not get up. My only hope is that this storm will pass. The storm, it always passes, they say, but I'm not sure about this storm. Alex handled all the legal stuff and the cops got involved, and I think I've grown too old to even understand anything. Or maybe I didn't want to understand anything. I don't know. But what I do know was that Alex would come to tell me every night over dinner. It's not that I did not get involved because I could not be bothered or this was all a hassle for me. And it was easier passing the buck to Alex. No, Alex knew exactly what he was doing, and I'd much rather prefer somebody who knew what they were doing to handle a sensitive case like this. Right now, Alex is working with the authorities to bring Mark to justice. I'm not very sure about Sara and her involvement in this. It's to think that Sara will do something like this, but I guess you never know a person like you think you do. Sara will get charged as well since she was, quote, aiding and abetting. But who knows? Maybe she'll be off the hook, and I don't know if I'll be happy or sad about it. I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks. Till then, take care. Don't trust anybody you know. Maybe I'm just paranoid. But hey, can you blame me? Update number 4. Hey guys, this is going to be the final update. It's been a while since I last updated you on the journey to uncover the truth. Buckle up, because this one's filled with twists and turns and a bit of emotions. Armed with the evidence in Mark's confession, we knew it was time to expose his deceit and bring him to justice, but it wasn't as simple as we hoped. Mark fought back. He even threw every obstacle in our path. He had connections with some weird group of, men. And I'm not sure, but they had power, influence, and a network of connections that seemed impenetrable. The police got super involved, and all I could do was hope the authorities would arrest the man that wreaked havoc in our lives. I'm not even going to address him as my brother anymore, because which brother does this to a sibling? He's now just a stranger I knew. As for Sara, she's disappeared, vanished, and I don't think the authorities are actively pursuing her as they are Mark, which I think made it easier for her to get away. To a new city, change her whole identity even. Maybe she'll be a hairdresser in a small town, I wouldn't know. I'm just glad I have both of my children. Although they're full-blown adults and barely have any time to spend with me. But it doesn't matter. I know they're here and they love. That's all that matters. As the legal battle dragged on and the toll on our family became apparent, the scars of the past ran deep. And the wounds were slow to heal. We were emotionally drained. And the weight of the situation strained our relationships, and I guess it's a direct result of pent stress, frustration, and straight-up anger. Because we would snap at each other for the smallest of issues. But wailing takes time, and we were far from it. Anyways, the search for Sara started to intensify. The authorities scorned the county, following every lead, hoping to locate her and bring her in. The weight of the betrayal weighed really heavily on all our hearts, though. The only good thing that came from this, or rather the only good piece of news, was that Mark, he's been arrested. Sentenced to 20 years in prison. Talk about 20 years apiece! And then finally a breakthrough. A tip from an unexpected source led the authorities to a small town where Sara had started a new life. She had changed her appearance. She had freaking even changed the color of her hair and eyebrows. Her name, her identity. I knew it. I told y'all she'd do something crazy like this, and boy, when I found out, I actually celebrated. Not because they found her and were going to give her jail time, but because I was right. Sara was arrested, sentenced to half the time of old Marky boy. 10 years, aiding and abetting, and were faced with difficult task of confronting her anger. Disappointment and heartache mingled as we tried to comprehend the magnitude of the exact betrayal she did. It was painful, reckoning, but one that we could not ignore. The kids, or should I say the adults, they struggled the most. My heart went out to Alex and Emily. It was their mother after all, and seeing her behind thick glass where they communicated through a phone must have made it a very difficult time. In the aftermath of Sara's arrest, our family faced a new challenge. Forgiveness. The scars of the past have not faded and the wounds were still raw. Rebuilding trust would take time and effort. As for me and Sara, we're done. There was nothing more to say or do. To forgive, what's there to forgive? She walked out of my life and chose something else. She told me that she didn't want me, and once I accepted that, it became easier to deal with the whole fiasco. We did end up saving the family business, though. With everything else that happened, I totally forgot to update you guys on the business. Alex went and got everything in order, and the business is doing just swell. Emily moved in with me, and I didn't ask her too many questions. I just wanted to be there for her. I guess that's all that matters right now. Being there for each other. And that's what I'm going to do till the day that I die.
First of all, guys, before we talk about this story, I want to hear a shout out in the comment section down below for Alex. Basically, the hero of the story, who went above and beyond to just go ahead and point out how bad of a human being Mark actually is. Not only did he cheat with OP, aka his brother's wife, but he's been siphoning money from the family business for all these years. And if we did not get a little bit of an inside scoop on this, well, then we never would have known. So guys, I want to ask you one question. What would you have done if you were in OP's position and you find out all this betrayal, heartache, and just everything compiled into one? What do you do? Drop the comment down below, guys. Let's talk about it. If you're new to the channel, I post stories every day. So if you're bored, you just want to listen to a funny / cool / dramatic / whatever you want to think it is type of story, stop on by. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a fantastic day. And remember, it's cool to be kind.